when we talk about biomaterials, so this word is coming from living organisms, flora, fauna, both. Why is it in focus? Countries are shifting towards cleaner and low carbon manufacturing for plastics, textiles and consumer products. Biomaterials are emerging as key alternative to fossil-based materials. Fossil-based materials, it becomes polluting, more polluting I would say. Like plastic is from hydrocarbons, it is a fossil-based material. And decomposition of such materials is also a problem. But biomaterials, first of all, it is causing less harm, less pollution to the environment, and second of all, it can be having a circular cycle, means it can be recycled, reused a number of times. So this is what biomaterials are. Materials which are made up of any biological entity, and they have the potential to replace the existing fossil based materials. For India, indigenous biomaterials can reduce import dependence, support farmers and help meet climate and waste reduction goals. Example ke taur pe you can understand that shoes made from bamboo. Bamboo is a biomaterial, and once those shoes are discarded, they've completed their life, you dispose them, they'll end up decomposing. No harm to the environment, or they can be reused, recycled and reused. But on the other hand, rubber shoes, or for that matter any I would say other material is used for making the shoes, foaming and all is there in the shoes, which is environmentally not so friendly, then that will be more difficult for them to decompose, to get decomposed, or for that matter it will be more difficult for them to the manufacturing process will be more carbon intensive, means more carbon emissions will be there for those shoes. Just an example to make you understand what biomaterials are, but yes, let us understand it through the definition. Biomaterials are materials that are derived fully or partly from biological sources. Biological sources can be flora or fauna, or are engineered using biological processes. When they are engineered, then biological processes are used. They are designed to replace or interact with conventional materials. Conventional materials like rubber I told you, or foam I told you for shoes, it is a conventional material. Chale aa rahe shoes is material ke. But these biomaterials can either integrate with them, it will be a mix of foam and bamboo, kind of this can be there also, or biomaterials can completely replace the conventional materials as well. So it is like this. Biomaterials are increasingly used in packaging, textiles, construction, healthcare and consumer goods. So our example of shoes which is going on with us is a consumer good. Now if I look at this image, life cycle assessment of biomaterials in buildings. It is basically manufactured, we'll start from here. It is manufactured, it is transported, then it is installed, it is used in making buildings, end of life. When its life ends, then either it can go to the landfill, from the landfill it can be recycled, it can be reused. And see, if it is recycled will go to manufacturing again, it will be used as a raw material or input over there. If it has to be reused, if after recycling we go to the next process here only and we make it fit for reuse, then it will go for installation directly. So biomaterials will not end up in landfills accumulating or contributing to the rise of landfills. This is not what is going to happen. So biomaterials are environment friendly. First of all, they are made up of any biological, I would say, material. And second of all, when they end their life, it is, but obvious for them to get recycled and reused. So it is like this. Types of biomaterials. There are three types of biomaterials. First is drop-in biomaterials, chemically identical to fossil-based materials which are already in use. They can be used in existing manufacturing systems without major changes because they are identical. Example, bio-PET, used in bottles and packaging. So it is mixed with the existing plastics. Drop-out biomaterials. These are chemically different from petroleum materials. Chemically different. That is why drop out. They require new processing methods or new end-of-life systems. New processing methods or new end-of-life systems. That is why drop out. And example, polylactic acid PLA, which needs industrial composting. End of life system means when you reuse, recycle them, that time, new processes are required. And the last is novel biomaterials. Novel means new. These offer new properties not found in conventional materials. Examples include self-healing materials, bioactive medical implants, and advanced biocomposites. They open new possibilities in healthcare, defense, and advanced manufacturing. So some biogels and all are there, which are, having healing properties for the humans, and that is why they are used in healthcare. So those are novel biomaterials. So drop in, drop out, novel. Why does India need biomaterials? India depends heavily on fossil-based imports for plastics, chemicals, and materials. Indigenous biomaterials can reduce import bills and improve energy security. This can happen because see, the conventional materials which are fossil-based, though fossil-based fuels, though India is importing. Last week we saw in that energy report that 85 to 90% of our fossil fuel requirement is imported. So that is, there. These biomaterials can reduce that. And they provide new income sources for the farmers. If these biomaterials have to be obtained from flora using agricultural crops, the agricultural residue, then it can add to the income of farmers. Biomaterials align with India's goal of banning single-use plastics, reducing wastes, meeting climate action commitments because they are environment friendly, and remaining competitive in global export markets where low carbon products are preferred more and more. They are being preferred more and more. So this is the benefit of biomaterials, and that is why India needs biomaterials. Current status of biomaterials in India? It is rapidly emerging, especially in bioplastics and biopolymers. So bioplastics, they are drop-in biomaterials because they mix with the existing plastics and they become comparatively environment friendly as compared to the conventional plastics. That is why bioplastics term has been added. They are decomposable as well. The Indian bioplastic market was valued at around $500 million in 2024 and is expected to grow strongly because plastic is one thing which is always in demand. Major developments include Balrampur Chini Mills PLA plant in Uttar Pradesh, one of India's largest investment in this sector. Startups like Fool.co, which converts temple flowers waste into biomaterials. Praj Industries, which is developing a demonstration level bioplastics plant. But despite strong agricultural capacity, India still depends on foreign technologies in some stages of converting the biomass into finished biomaterial. So, dependence for technology is there, but yes, for true Atmanirbharta, we need to reduce dependence at that level as well. Dependence for technology which will convert the biomass into biofuel, bio material. How will biomaterials reduce fossil based import dependence? So, see, plastic, they are basically जो plastic का दाना होता है, it is a byproduct of the fossil industry, petroleum industry. वहां से निकलता है वो प्लास्टिक का दाना, and from that plastic का दाना ये plastic is made. ठीक है? So it is a fossil based material, plastic, because fossil based fuel is petroleum and this is fossil based material. Up, you know, this thing that 85% to 90% of our fossil fuel are being imported, and we import that plastic ka dana also, or we take it as a byproduct of from that imported oil. If we reduce importing crude oil, because we are shifting towards EVs and we are shifting towards biofuels as well, then that plastic ka dana availability will be less, and this less availability is can generate demand for imports. That demand for import of that plastic ka dana can be set off if we move towards biomaterials. Now, they replace petroleum-based plastics and chemicals with bio-derived alternatives. They use domestic agricultural feedstocks such as sugarcane, maize and crop residues for making biomaterials. They help shift India from being an importer of materials to a producer of bio-based value-added products. And over time, this strengthens industrial self-reliance and supply chain resilience. So, this is what or how India will benefit if we move towards biomaterials in the context of reducing imports. But there are challenges in scaling biomaterials in India. What are these challenges? Feedstock competition. Now, this feedstock competition is a challenge in biofuels as well. Ab dekho, biofuels is what? We take an example of ethanol. We are studying biomaterials. If you closely see the definition of biofuel, what is it? Fuel which is derived from any natural sources, biological sources like flora and fauna. Example is ethanol. Ethanol is derived from sugarcane, the agricultural residue. It is also derived from rice husk. And what we do? We blend it with petrol. We mix it with petrol. So if you closely see and think, sir, ethanol can also be a biomaterial? Yes, it is a biomaterial. But since it is being used as a fuel, so we go or we become more specific for it that it is biofuel. Biofuel, obviously it is a biomaterial, broad category is biomaterial. And if you closely see, we are blending ethanol with petrol. So it is what? Dropping in type of biomaterial. Okay, that kind of biomaterial it is. So this is what you need to understand about it. Now, feedstock competition. What is this feedstock competition? I gave you this example of biofuel And I told you that this feedstock competition is a challenge in biofuel also. What if you know the demand for such kind of products increase and farmers cannot produce it? What if demand for such kind of a product increases too much and farmers are not able to produce it? Then what can farmers do? Or what will happen in that scenario? Since the demand will be more, then it can lead to more prices of such kind of biomaterials. And more prices, then the farmers will be growing that product not for feeding the people, not for ensuring food security. The farmers will be diverting it towards these things which are more lucrative, which give more money to the farmers. So food security can be compromised. That should not happen. There should be a balance. Then intensive farming for biomass could cause water stress and soil degradation. So definitely, like I told you that biofuel like ethanol is or can be created from sugarcane and rice. Both are water intensive crops. Then weak waste management of such biomaterials and composting infrastructure is not there, it may limit environmental benefits of such biomaterials. फिर जो हम कह रहे थे कि इसका benefit होगा, benefit will not be there. Fragmented policy coordination between agriculture, environment and industry can slow the progress. So there should be proper coordination between all these stakeholders. Delays in scaling could make India dependent on imports. So this is something which we should be avoiding. We should not delay in scaling the infrastructure for such kind of products. Way forward for India: expand biomanufacturing infrastructure, especially fermentation and polymerization capacity, improve feedstock productivity using advanced agricultural and biotech methods, invest more in research and development, obviously, establish clear regulatory definitions, labeling rules, end of life pathways for such kind of products, and most importantly follow them, use government procurement, time bound incentives and pilot projects to reduce these kind of delays and promote early investment. Promote shared facilities and demonstrated plans to help startups and MSMEs to scale faster. So small entities definitely should be promoted this way. So yes, this is very critical for any economy, any modern economy I would say, and an economy like India definitely should be going for this thing.